this will not end in the valley here. We're going to keep on going. We have told this family we're with them to the end.
Angry reaction to the decision in Ferguson, Missouri, from Michael Brown's stepfather and Al Sharpton there. But is this really a bigger reflection of an African-American sentiment across the nation? Are activists like Al Sharpton just stirring the pot? Former Illinois congressional candidate Dr. Eric Wallace joins us now. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
And you even actually go so far as to say you believe many black leaders want to see their race fail in order to profit. That seems extreme. Explain that.
Well, there's what you call the politics of racial grievance, which isn't new. Booker T. Washington spoke about it back in his day when he talked about how there was a segment of the black population that wants to keep the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the African American race before the people, partly because they want sympathy, but also because it pays. I mean, it's an industry. It's to keep African Americans very upset, so they can get them out to the polls when it's time to vote, and it also helps them put money in their coffers.
And you bring up a great point about there's violence going on across the country, and sometimes you wonder, why isn't Al Sharpton making appearances there? And you beg the question, is it because the cameras aren't there? In Chicago, we have some startling statistics. There were over 300 homicides that have happened between January and October of this year. Why don't you think he's making more appearances in places like Chicago?
Because it goes back to the policies of racial grievance. See, what they have to do is they have to keep white people on the hook to feel guilty about what's happened in the past, and at the same time keep African Americans upset about the fact that somebody white killed somebody who was black. But they don't talk about black on black violence. They don't have answers for that.
Right. And another way that Al Sharpton is able to keep this story alive in Ferguson, Missouri, is by attacking the procedure of having a grand jury in the first place and not respecting their decision. What issues do you have with that?
I have issues because Reverend Al Sharpton is supposed to be one who's supposed to be helping keep the peace. He keeps stirring people up. And then when you actually have a decision comes down, if you don't like the decision, you continue to try and stir people up. And it's unfortunate because we believe in the rule of law. And if you believe in the rule of law, when a decision comes down, you should at least be able to look at it and start, even if you disagree with it, find reasons why you disagree with it instead of trying to just trump things up and get people emotional, so they don't even think about whether this decision really had some merit to it or not.
Dr. Wallace, do you think that some of these protesters haven't read all the news headlines, or they've only read the headlines and not the meat of the articles, and realize that the grand jury deliberated for a very long time? They saw hours of testimony, autopsy reports, photographs, and all sorts of accounts from witnesses there, and then they made their decision. Why would that decision not be respected?
Well, I'm going to be a little bit more cynical here even now, is because there's some folks it doesn't matter what the outcome was. They were going to protest, they were going to riot and do various things that they wanted to do anyway. And I actually believe that some of these protesters are actually paid protesters. I mean, now you have the Communist Party coming there, you have union members who are there. I mean, some people are actually being paid to be there and to cause disruption. Right. So it just didn't matter what the outcome was going to be.
We certainly hope things die down there. Eric Wallace, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. My pleasure.